I'm delighted to say I'm joined by the former major winner, Nathan Aspinall. Thanks very much for joining us, Nathan. How are you doing?
I'm very well, Alex. How are you?
I'm doing well, thank you. And we last had you on the show back in February, just after your full Premier League debut in Aberdeen, and you'd just picked up your first Pro Tour title of the year. And for the most part, it's been a strange 6 or 7 months since then. How have you found this period personally?
A bit up and down, really. It was nice to, when we did get when we got told, obviously, darts had been cancelled, obviously by no fault of our own. It was nice to spend some time with the family. Obviously, everything's kind of gone a bit mental for me over the last 2 years, so it's given me a bit of time to sit down and look at how far my career's come and how far my life's changed over the last 2 years, which is something I've not really had the time to do. So in that respect, yeah, it was nice, but on the other hand, I was playing some really good stuff before lockdown. So it kind of hit me for six because I thought I could have done some damage, obviously in the Premier League and events that were coming up. But these things happen, and at least we're back to playing now, and I carried on where I left off, thankfully.
Definitely, yeah, and it seems like a long time ago now, but just before everything was shut down, we had the UK Open in Minehead. You were back there for your title defence from 12 months ago, and I suppose it was a hard draw, really, the random draw giving you Michael van Gerwen in your first game. How did you feel when you were leaving Minehead?
I knew it was going to happen. We sat in the chalet and we were watching the draw, and I just had this weird feeling that I was going to play him, and obviously I had. I think a couple of weeks before I beat him in the Premier League as well, so I was confident I could get the win over him. But he got some new darts and he played brilliant, to be fair, and obviously went on to win the title. So I was disappointed. Obviously, my first time defending the title, and it didn't go how I planned it. But these things happen, and I didn't play poorly from my part. So it's just a better guy won on the day, really.
And a week or so later, you beat Michael on the way to another title on the floor, getting a little bit of revenge there. And after that weekend, of course, we had the 4-month break from the tour, everything shutting down. As you touched on earlier, you were one of the form players at the time before that break. So how did you find it at first with all these events being cancelled?
Yeah, it was annoying. Like you say, I think the last weekend before, obviously the lockdown started, I'd won a Pro Tour. I was playing, arguably the best stuff I've ever thrown. I was doing well in the Premier League. Like I say, I beat Michael early on in the season as well. So I was a bit annoyed and frustrated, but like I said earlier, there is more important things in life than darts. Obviously, I wanted to make sure I was healthy and the family was, so that was the most important thing at the time. But yeah, like I say, we're not getting to the end of it yet, but at least there's some kind of darts back.
Yeah, and we saw during the break the PDC introduced the home tour, and you went all the way to win the whole thing, lift the dinner plate as well. I think you celebrated celebrated in the hot tub as well after it. Have you seen Low Six have also they've got the trophy made now? It looks quite smart.
Yeah, I've seen it the other day on Twitter. I've actually not got it because I think the PDC did some kind of prediction league throughout the home tour, with the winners obviously presenting the winner with the trophy. So it's still not in my house. I've still got my dinner plate up at the moment. But it was good, the home tour. I was a bit sceptical at first because I'm not really a big practicer, to be quite honest with you. So I didn't really fancy doing it, but obviously once I got my teeth into it, I started playing some good stuff, and the final night was brilliant. I had a great game against Gary, and obviously to come out on top of it, it wasn't a TV title, but you still beat the best players in the world to win it. So I was very happy, and obviously since then I've been rewarded with a Grand Slam spot for it, which just kind of came out of nowhere, really. I didn't know I was going to get in it through that, but I went up to Matt Porter and thanked him very kindly for sticking me in it for that.
Yeah, that's going to be my next question, actually. We saw the Grand Slam criteria come out a couple of weeks ago now, and of course for winning the home tour you've got into the field. So when did you find out that winning that event was going to get you in the Grand Slam?
When everyone else knew, to be quite honest with you. I never actually received an email or a message off anyone. I was just on Twitter one day flicking through, and I seen the updated obviously qualifying criteria, and I clicked on it, and I seen my name there for winning the home tour. So I was quite buzzing, really, because the Grand Slam's probably the hardest one to get into, because you've got to either win something or become a runner-up. I think I probably still would have done it anyway, due to obviously the 2 Pro Tours that I'd won. obviously halfway through the year to be, find out that I'm definitely guaranteed in the Grand Slam. It was a nice little bonus.
And since then, we've seen the tour return, in-person darts again, the Pro Tour with the Summer Series. A week later, the World Match Play behind closed doors in Milton Keynes. And for yourself, you lost out to the eventual winner, Dimitri van den Berg, and we saw on stage how disappointed you were during that game. But when you saw him go on and win the title, did the defeat hurt a little less?
No, not really. I wasn't looking forward to it anyway. I didn't know how I would do, obviously, without the crowd. I've said it in a load of interviews during the Premier League that I'm a bit of a, I love the crowd, I feed off the crowd, I jump around like an idiot on stage, and obviously when I've got no crowd there, it's quite hard to get up for it like that. So I wasn't looking forward to the match play. Dimitri played brilliant against me, to be fair. His finishing was brilliant, and if I don't win tournaments, it's always nice if another young lad like me wins it, because we've grown up together playing on the development tour, so it's always nice to see another young lad doing well, and fair play to him, and hopefully now he can kick on like I did.
And of course, after that, we saw that the PDC announced they were going to carry on the Premier League behind closed doors as well, so a similar setup to what you had for the World Match Play. How did you try and adjust then to the new scenario that you had to play under?
Yeah, I was dreading it. To be honest, I was after how the match play went. I know certainly me and Gezi were probably the two players that were thinking, how we're going to cope, how we're going to struggle to get motivated and pumped up. So I tried a few little. I just tried to get myself up, even when I was practicing, trying to get the adrenaline going in a quiet environment as opposed to 10,000 people screaming. So that's what I kind of did building up to the Premier League. And I think the first probably 2 games, I struggled to get that, like I say, the blood pumping, but I kind of got used to it come probably the second or third night, and obviously it kind of worked well for me.
Yeah, it definitely did, getting in the top 4 on your Premier League debut. And looking back at the last couple of weeks, it was a little bit up and down for you in terms of the results. You'd win one night, then lose the next night. You'd be in the top 4, then you'd be out the top 4. I mean, and especially nowadays with what you had to do, you had to play night after night. There wasn't that week break between the games. So how did you find that whole scenario, that whole situation of being in such a tight race to get in that top 4?
Stressful. It's probably been the toughest 2 weeks of my life, in all honesty. I've never played as much darts in my career, to be quite honest, day in, day out. Obviously, knowing that you have to perform at your top level, and even if you do that, it's not necessarily that you've won the game. So it was hard. I'm playing the best 8 players every night. There's no room for I've got an easy game tonight. If you have an off game, I can still get the win. There's none of that. You just have to produce your best every night, and it was tough. And like you say, I was in the playoffs. I was out the playoffs, and it was every day. I was thinking, well, if I don't win tonight, I'm going to drop down to 7th. If I do win, I can go up to 2nd, and all these things are going through your head, and then you've got to try and keep focused and do the job in hand. So yeah, it was a tough 2 weeks. Obviously, I missed my family as well. I've been at home for 5 months. Even though they're doing me head in, I still missed them when I was away. But we got the result we wanted in the end, and we made that top 4.
Yeah, I mean, from the outside looking in, it did look like a little bit of a pressure cooker for the players, really, that night after night having to play. I know the games are pretty short, usually around half an hour, so you've got a lot of downtime during the day as well. How are you filling your days while you're in Milton Keynes waiting for the night and the games to get underway?
I started playing. I took my golf clubs with me. As a lot of people know, I love my golf, and I won a game. I'd play golf, and then I lost, and then I won, and then the day after I play golf, and I'd lose. So the management team and the family banned me from playing golf. So they said no more of that. So it just obviously we all knock around together. We all get on well. Behind the scenes, and going out. I was with Davil Gurney and Matt Ward, his manager, quite a lot. Going out, have something to eat, go and have a coffee, and have a chat, and put the world to right because we've got nothing else to do. But yeah, it was on that respect, it was quite tough because obviously we're not playing until 7, 8 o'clock at night. I don't really sleep well when I'm away, so I'm up at 6 o'clock. It's a long day to just be sat in a hotel, but it could be worse. It could be sat behind an office doing Excel spreadsheets. You can't feel too sorry for yourself.
No, definitely not. And we saw the emotion from yourself on Saturday night, the final game of the league phase. You knew what you had to do to get into that top four, and you done it. You got the win against Glendaran, and we saw the leg that you won to secure your place in the top four, how much it meant to you. I mean, looking back now, I know it's been a few days, but where does finishing in the top four rank among your achievements so far?
I said in interviews after the match, it was probably the biggest win of my career. It's not my best moment, but it's certainly the biggest win of my career. How I handled myself under the pressure. I think you look at Michael Van Gerwen. You know, he has been struggling, but I've never seen him perform and miss doubles and produce so poor standard. And I purely put that down to he was feeling the pressure. I was an absolute bag of nerves before I walked on, but you know, normally when I'm under pressure and there's a lot riding on things, that's when I do normally produce my best stuff, and I did it again. Obviously, my signature 170 shot was in there as well, which is always nice to do. My game plan was to try and keep composed. Obviously, like I said earlier on, I do like to give it a bit on stage, but sometimes it's not always the right thing to do. It's very tiring when you start screaming like an idiot, like I do. So I just thought, keep calm, keep composed. When you do get to that seven, if you do get to the seven, you know, let everything out, and that's kind of what I did. I have seen it back. You know, I was apologising to Glenn because obviously how I reacted, which is something I don't normally do. But I think he knew how important it was for me and how important that leg was. So yeah, it was a brilliant night. I played, you know, probably the best stuff I played all week. And you know, finally I hit some doubles because, you know, I think if I'd finished like I did on Saturday night for the rest of the week, I wouldn't have been in that position. But you know, thankfully for me on Saturday I finished brilliant, and I got what I needed to do.
Definitely, yeah, and just a couple really to finish looking ahead, and it's going to be a long wait now before the playoffs. I think towards the end of October now. I know the PDC are hoping to get a crowd for that finals night at the O2, but yourself being in Milton Keynes for the last few weeks and seeing how well that this run, the whole thing, are you a little bit surprised that they maybe didn't tag the finals night onto Sunday at the end of last week?
No, I think they made the right decision. Obviously, they said originally that they might play the finals on the Sunday. I think it would take the occasion away from it if it just followed on from, you know, 10 nights of darts and then you play the finals. I don't think it would. Certainly the players wouldn't feel like it is as big as it actually is. You know, for me, it's the second, third biggest tournament in the world of darts. So I think they've done the right decision giving it a break. Obviously, we was all absolutely shattered, to say the least, though. At least we can go away, you know, get prepared how we'd normally prepare for such a big night. Obviously, we've got a few more tournaments in between that now, but you know, I think they definitely made the right decision, and wherever it'll be, you know, I'm really looking forward to it, and you know, hopefully I can lift the maiden Premier League.
Yeah, and let's finish off with what you've got coming up before the playoffs. Of course, before the Premier League restarted, you did have a little bit of a break between the World Match Play, but there's going to be plenty to keep you busy before the playoffs. You've got the Autumn Series in Germany this week, the World Series finals Austria next week, another European tour, then the World Grand Prix a little while after that. How are you feeling about that schedule, and are you pleased to see your diary starting to fill up again?
Yeah, I can't wait. You know, I love darts. I love playing darts. I love winning titles and, you know, achieving my dreams, and that kind of obviously got took away from me during lockdown, but it's coming back slowly but surely. Obviously it's going to be tough on my two children and Kirsty, because obviously I'm not going to be home pretty much now for the next 6 weeks. Yeah, it's going to be hard in that respect, but at the end of the day, I'm a dart player, it's my job, and you know, I'm looking forward to, you know, hopefully continuing where I left off on Saturday night, because they played brilliant, and you know, hopefully add another title this week in Germany. And then obviously we've got the World Series, which I think it has got fans. I'm not 100% on that, but I'm pretty sure, yeah, that there's fans there. So it'd be nice to actually play in front of someone instead of 8 speakers for once.
Excellent. Well, Nathan, it's always nice to get you on. Really appreciate you taking out some time to have a chat with us. And congratulations again on qualifying for the Premier League playoffs, and wish you all the best in Germany this weekend.
Yeah, cheers, mate. Thanks a lot.